Fiona from Asexualise.com and author of Asexual Perspectives out on Amazon. So in the last video we talked about at least 12 signs of a narcissist. In this follow-up video I'm going to discuss with you how to deal with a narcissist based on my own personal experience and what I have learnt. So first of all, you need to know what type of people narcissists target. Narcissists target people who are sympathetic, empathetic, emotional, and sensitive. They see these qualities as a weakness, okay? Because they're not qualities they hold themselves. Yeah, and they see emotional, sensitive people as weak people. Of course we're not. We're in touch with other people, we connect with other people, we care deeply about other people. But these is what the narcissist thinks and what the narcissist sees. And because, you know, emotional, sensitive people will get hurt by what they say, will be affected by what they say, this is why they do it, because they want that sense of power that comes with affecting people. They want that sense of control that comes through affecting people. Do you see what I mean? So this is where it stems from. Now, okay, this is the truth. You have to ignore narcissists, okay? You have to do everything in your power to ignore them and not emotionally react to them at all. This is really difficult thing to do. And then you have to get away from this person or people as quickly and as often as possible. You must get away from them. So number one is you must show them basically no emotion. Okay? You must, 2, ignore them. And 3, you need to get away from them as frequently and often as possible, or forever if you can. That's what you need to do. It should be your priority, okay? If you are speaking to a narcissist and say they're a work colleague. So I had this situation, right, that I had a narcissist in my work and had them for many years. I was in the job for for about 5 years. I was actually made redundant from it last year. And I had to deal with a narcissist in work, and it was really hard. I mean, last year I actually just couldn't take anymore and had to have a couple of weeks off work with stress from dealing with this guy. I went back and faced it, and the reason I could do it more was because I had a very good support from a dear friend, and also because I learnt techniques to help me with the narcissist. I learnt them off a lot of YouTube videos actually, and researching through articles. So the main thing is to ignore them. And also this includes if they're speaking to you. If they're speaking to you and they're downgrading you or telling you that your behaviour is wrong when you know that it's perfectly fine, when they're accusing you of doing something that you're not, or accusing you of not doing something because they expect you or want you to do it, or they think it's the right thing to be, or they think they're in charge of you, you know, you just have to ignore it. Especially if they are on the same level as you, but they just think they're on a higher level as you. So this guy in work, right, he wasn't on the same department as me, but he actually had an OCD over me. He used to follow me around and loads of things. Very, very strange behaviour. Very strange. But he used to... it got to a point where he was actually saying stuff and attacking me in front of other members of staff. But instead of them seeing it as an attack on me, when I retaliated, they saw it as me being in the wrong. And I saw it as him getting away with it. Now, regardless of the fact that I still kind of think that that's unfair, the best reaction I could do in the end when I had my time off and then came back was I discovered that they prey on emotions. So the less emotion you can show them, the less response you can show them, because they want attention, the best outcome you're going to get, which is really, you don't want anything to happen, anything more to progress. So I got to the point where he was coming up to me saying stuff, and I would just look at him and say nothing. Now, when we're a child and we're brought up by parents, we're often taught that ignoring people is really rude, isn't it? But you have to forget that you're not dealing with a normal person in the sense of the word. You're dealing with a narcissist, so you have to ignore them. Be rude if that's what you feel you're doing. Be rude and ignore them. You have to, because your number one priority has to be you. It has to be to preserve your self-worth, to preserve your dignity, to preserve your sense of self. Now, so he was coming up to me and he was saying stuff in my face, and I had to ignore him. I taught and trained myself every time in the back of my head was, don't react. Now, what's really hard is if a narcissist says something out of the blue. So he did say before stuff out of the blue. You know, I told him I couldn't lift something because of my disability, and he purposely came up and told me that I was moving it with him. And I told him, no, I'm not. And then he said, fine, if you're not going to move it, it's going to stay there. And he knew that I couldn't move it, because that's why I asked him if he could move it in the first place, which I didn't want to do, but he was the only one around at the time, and it was a work situation. And then what he did, another time, sort of probably to retaliate, is he ignored some customers. I told him customers needed help, and he purposely didn't go over and help them and started helping other people. Now that is really, really rude and bad. But because I disobeyed him or didn't accept his attack on me, he didn't like it, you see. So this is how it goes. So with a narcissist, you have to ignore them and express no emotion towards them whatsoever, because that's how they understand the world. That's how they communicate, and they see you as a stronger person when you do that. They see that they're not affecting you. If they're not affecting you, then of course deep down inside they're affecting you. But if you show on the outside they're not affecting you, and really try and position yourself that you're not affected, and in a way you are affected inside, but another way you're not affected because you're not responding directly back to what they're saying. So you've kind of took some of your personal control back. And that's what you need to do. Actually, by not responding, you are more in control of yourself. You're more in control of your emotions, and you're actually more in control of the situation. You can't control them. You can't change them. All you can do is change yourself and your own behaviour. Now, the thing is you cannot stay like that. Literally, a narcissist will suck the soul out of you. It will be soul destroying if you stay with a narcissist. If you're an emotional, sensitive, kind and caring person, and you're constantly around someone who's not showing you any emotion, any sympathy, any feeling, any caringness, and you're constantly around that, you have to become a former version of yourself. You have to become another version of yourself. Like you have to become like them. You know, it will make you like them in the outer shell, because you have to show them no emotion, because that way they can't get to you, and they can't control you as much or manipulate you as much, because you're not giving them that control. But it can be soul destroying, you know. People who are compassionate and caring and understanding and emotional are genuinely usually good people. You know, we feel, we care, we have passion, etc. I used to have, you know, I've got a really outgoing personality, bubbly personality. He hated that because it doesn't fit in with his ideology of what a person should be. He likes to be the centre of attention. He likes people to think he's great. He doesn't like people who are different to him, you know? So again, this is what they're like, and you have to literally, you know, I had to have some time off work, 2 weeks, and I was even diagnosed by the doctor as being bullied in work, and this was because of this guy. I just thought I couldn't take anymore, you know, and I just got, because when he was attacking me in front of other people, and I was getting blamed for the one retaliating that I shouldn't be doing that on the shop floor. I mean, it just, I didn't expect him to say the things he was, and he caught me off guard, but I felt like he was getting away with it, you know? It'd be like, I'd say something to him, but the manager wouldn't say anything. And then unless I said something back, was retaliating, then I would get into trouble. So, but I've learnt since that narcissists are the ones that work their way up in the company, because most people will not stick up to them. They will not come forward and say that they are being bullied by a narcissist. And even when they do, they have made themselves so important to the company that the company doesn't want to lose them, which is what happened in the job that I was working in. He basically made himself so valuable to them, so important to the role and to the company, that they feel they could, that his work and his worth was worth far more than just upsetting me, basically. And that's why they keep him on, and he just keeps progressing, or he just keeps staying there, and people think highly of him in management, not because they think highly of him in a morale sense, but of course his work ethic, because, he's trying to get everyone to do things his way, telling people what to do. So he seems kind of managerial, and they respect that and they like it, because they don't have to then sort of work behind him all the time, telling him what to do like a puppet. That's why the management like him. Another technique I found useful online was, if they are talking to you, to try and fidget or something. So to take the sort of, how can I put it? So if they're criticising you or saying stuff to you, rather than retaliating, you really want to retaliate, and you also might want to hide, you might want to run, you might want to go off and cry, which is what they want, because they want a reaction. They want the attention and reaction out of you. One of the techniques I saw someone on YouTube do is put your arm behind your head, fiddle with something, so that when you're talking, you don't look like you look like you're distracted. So you're not paying attention to them. You're not feeding their need for all this attention all the time, because and it helps you. It helps break that magnetism of them making you more and more irate, because they're saying stuff to you that really they shouldn't be saying to you. But no one's helping you or defending you, so you have to, instead of retaliating, because you're trying to not show any emotion, you have to just go, yeah, something like this. Look away. Look down at the floor. You can do anything like that. And they suggested, playing with your hair, putting your arm behind your back, your head, sort of like fidgeting a bit, which is the opposite of what you're taught to do, obviously. When you're young, you're taught to pay attention and listen. But you have to do the opposite with this person, because they want attention. I hope this has been helpful to you. So you have to literally not show emotion around them. Try not to get into any arguments or debate. Remember, their motive is to basically cause you emotional upset, to cause you... It's horrible, isn't it? But their goal is to affect you. How nasty and horrible is that? Their goal is to affect you and to get you to do what they want, basically. And they do it in a very underhanded, attacking way and make you feel small. It's not nice at all. But you have to get away. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you have to get away. Don't think that they can't look after themselves, because they can. Don't feel sorry for them. Don't play that empathy game. They want an empathetic person, because they're not like that. They feed off that, So what you need to do is show no emotion. And, you can be firm with them, but don't think you're going to change them, because you're not. The more you try and change them or retaliate, the more they literally, if you retaliate in a way you're affected, that's bad. If you retaliate in a putting your foot down, like, no, this is the way it is, then they're not going to like it, and they're still going to try and upset you. But if you have to say that and stand your ground, then do so. Don't try and attempt to change them, but stand your ground firm. Sometimes you have to. I used to do that lots with him. But in the end, I stopped even talking to him, because instead of, when I used to stand my ground with him, it then became so he would purposely start saying stuff in front of other people. Because when I used to say stuff firmly to him, it was always me and him on his own. Then he involved other people, which is why I couldn't deal with it. So then I learnt to not say anything. Not say anything usually in response to him, and ignore him. Even when he's in my face, saying stuff to me. Sandra, you're this. Sandra, you're that. It's like, whatever. And do you know, when I was being made redundant, he came up to me and he said, oh, I know we're not each other's biggest fans, But, you know, I'm sorry to hear your news. One, he was glad he heard my news because I didn't tell him. So he wanted to hear it from someone else to make himself feel important and in the loop. So he was gloating about that. And two, obviously, you instantly, as a sympathetic, empathetic person that I am, and you know, I thought, oh, that's really nice at first, in a way. And then I thought, no, because he wants an emotional response out of me. He wants me to cry because I'm going after 5 years and being made redundant. He wants me to show him a reaction like, oh, thanks very much. It's because it would validate him. Yeah? So I didn't do that. I showed no emotion whatsoever. I think I might have said yeah to not being each other's biggest fans. And I might have said thanks. And that was it. To be polite. But I didn't show any emotion. I didn't go, oh, I'm leaving. I didn't go, oh, thanks very much and hug him. I didn't go, you know, I just probably said, oh yeah, thanks. That was it. So it's a very, very formal thing. So yeah, and I knew that I told other people, but I wouldn't tell him on purpose because I knew someone else would tell him anyway. I mean, my flaw was that type of flaw. The whole shop was. So anyway, I hope this has helped you. But no, you know, there was someone in my group, in one of my groups a long time ago, and he was saying narcissism was always of the mindset they'll change and he can change them. And they've got a problem, a psychological problem from childhood, okay? Just remember this before I go. Another person's problem is not your problem. Let me repeat that. Another person's problem is not your problem. If they have childhood issues, right, they have to deal with them. They cannot put all their childhood issues on and say it's fine for me to not care about you, for me to not empathise with you, for me to not sympathise with you, for me to cut you down when you're talking, for me to think that I'm more important than you. It's not okay for them to do that. They cannot say, oh, all my childhood was this bad, so this is why I'm like the way I am. No. I've had, my childhood wasn't great, you know? But do I go around being like that? Do I have no empathy for people? No, I have a deep empathy for people. Do I go around not being caring? No, I do care. Do I go around not expressing any emotion? No, I do express emotion. I might not let people walk all over me like I possibly might have done some occasions in the past, you know. I'm still a tough cookie in the sense, but I'm also a very kind, caring person at the same time. I empathise with people. If people tell me they've been through horrific stuff, I feel for them. I really do. But remember, if a narcissist is a narcissist, they're a narcissist. If they want to go and get some help for their narcissism, fine. Book into therapy for a couple of years if you're serious about changing. All right? You need to be for a couple of years. You know, I had an abusive ex. Believe it or not, he even went to counselling to change his bad behaviour and to his aggressive nature. Did it work? No. He didn't carry on. I think he was going for the best part of a year, though. But they say to make a distinct change in any bad abusive behaviour, controlling person, needs at least 2 years of therapy. And the person, you know, sometimes people who are abusive, they use the I'm going to therapy or to see a counsellor as some sort of badge of armour, you know, like badge or shield of armour, like, look what I'm doing. I'm doing this. It's not because they're going to change. It's because they're, you know, my ex kind of, I feel like he wore it like a badge of honour, you know, look what I'm doing. It didn't change him. He actually got worse over the time, you know. So don't think just because they're going for therapy or counselling that it means they're going to change. It doesn't. So sadly, I'm not saying that people can't change, but people have to want to change. In their being, they have to know that fundamentally something's wrong with them and the way they're behaving in order to change that. And if they don't accept that because they're there thinking they're right all the time, which is a huge trait of a narcissist, if they think they're right all the time, they're not going to seek help and change. Okay, if they're a real core narcissist, they're not going to seek help and change because they think they're right. They don't see anything wrong with their behaviour, with their thinking, with the way they treat people. So leave them to their problems, leave them to themselves, and get yourself the heck away from them. Because if you're a sympathetic, empathetic, emotional, kind, caring, sensitive person, and you have to be emotionless around them, You have to literally cut off from all your sense of who you are around people. When you're with them, you're going to lose yourself and you're going to lose your soul. Do not be afraid to block these people. Do not be afraid to block them, because you haven't done anything wrong. You shouldn't even be staying prolonged friends with this person, these type of people. They're no good for you. Just go from their life. Go and get yourself some people who care about you, who empathise with you, who support you in your goals, ambitions and dreams, who genuinely feel warm towards you, who you can be yourself around. You don't want to be having a life where you can't be yourself around a person and you're treading on eggshells or trying to be this heartless, emotional person when you're around them so that they don't affect you. Yeah, you do that as a temporary survival method, but you get the heck out of that. I mean, I had to deal with a narcissist in work for a long time. It wasn't easy. You know, I was in that job for over 5 years. I used to love it when they weren't in and they were on their days off. I could breathe a sigh of relief. You know, and luckily I wasn't directly on their department. I was on the department next to them, so that didn't really help me. And management didn't help. They put all the blame on me, funnily enough, and I had to see a specialist who then said, nope, it's not her. It's the bullying from the work that's getting to her. So, but yeah, I did go back. I faced it. I faced him, and I got better and better at being emotionless and unresponsive towards him. And then everyone else, I would just be my normal bubbly self around and respond and talk directly to them and just ignore him. So that's what I did in the end. Anyway, if you found this video helpful and useful, I know it's been quite a long one, but I wanted to tell you my personal experience so you've got something to relate to. Please, if you found it helpful, share it with someone you know may benefit. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I hope it's been a good video. Please comment down below if you've had any dealings with a narcissist. Please leave any advice that you found helpful from your own personal experiences and knowledge of how you dealt with them. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and hit the bell icon so you'll receive notifications of every time I post a new video. This channel is about asexuality, but anyone's welcome to subscribe. And I like to cover a range of topics within asexuality and the asexual world, but obviously they can sometimes be relevant to people outside the asexual realm, which these last couple of videos will be. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. Don't forget the thumbs up on the video, like I said, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.